Welcome back to the channel. This particular video today won't be primarily about cruising, but it's somewhat relevant to it. If you are a content creator, vlogger of, vacations, resorts, daily life, cruising, such as myself, or when it comes to photography, anything that you choose to vlog and you're new to it, you are a beginner, you may want to tune in to this video for information that may save you when it comes to editing and making sure your videos come out smooth and good. Welcome back. If you could do your boy a favor, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for support. It's greatly appreciated. Now, today we are going to talk about content creation, vlogging, and how in 2025, it's just something that it seems like a lot of people are doing, especially when they have interesting things going on in their life. Example, for me, I am a cruise content creator. I'm pretty much just getting started with, video recording, my experiences, reviews of the ships, my experience, things like that, excursions when I go from port to port, things of that nature. It's a lot of busy work, but I love what I do. Now, we come into a problem when you are new to content creation as far as editing. Editing can be very overwhelming. Editing can be very time consuming. And in today's society, today's time, who has that, right? So it becomes a thing of balance, creating time to do what you need to do in order to achieve what you want. And content creation is nothing short of any of that. So for me, when it comes to content creation, I've been editing for years. Now, will I say professional wise? No, just doing it, going through the flow and the motion of things. I know what I'm doing for the most part. I know how to do a sequence. I know how to import videos. I know how to export. So with that, I will say this. I ran into an issue with exporting my videos. When I would go on a cruise, last year, I would export my videos. The software that I use is Adobe Premiere Pro. I didn't have an issue. It was very simple. When I exported my videos and went to play them back, everything was smooth, never had an issue, up until recently. And if you were to go and watch my recent videos, my vlogs for cruising, I had several people reach out to me and say that they noticed that my video would freeze, for X amount of time, numerous times throughout the video. And I was not aware of this. And I figured it was a simple fix, so I started doing research. And one of the things that I came across was formatting your micro SD. I was shooting, well, I still am, shooting on a GoPro. At that time, I was shooting on a GoPro Hero 9. I'm gonna get to what I'm shooting on currently and why I'm shooting on what I'm shooting on currently. I'm thinking that the GoPro Hero 9 was broken or outdated. So I had my micro SD card and I had did research to format it. You are to format every single SD card that you get, just cause. And when doing my research, I learned that you should do it through the computer, like the PC. I have a Mac, so I had to do it through my Mac. They say it's much better once you do it through that versus doing it on a camera or GoPro, action camera, whatever you're using. But it wouldn't hurt to do it on the camera that you're using, formatting it to that camera that you are using. So I did both. And I shot again for another cruise. Same thing happened. Looked into it further and it said update the firmware on your camera. So I'm like, okay, formatting my SD card for the camera and through the computer and updating my firmware for my GoPro Hero 9, I'm still getting the same result. Now I'm getting discouraged. I'm going back and I'm searching and watching beginner Adobe Premiere Pro import and export videos to make sure that I'm doing it right. Like, dude, I've been doing this for years. I've had the same software for years. Like, nothing has changed. Why are my videos freezing so much throughout playback? Couldn't figure it out. And I'm just, at this point, I'm trying different exporting codecs and different exporting formats, trying to figure out why my videos are freezing. And I'm watching so many different videos, and every last one of them are showing different variations that lead to the same thing. And these are things that I was already doing, and I just can't figure out why a year ago my videos weren't freezing and now they're freezing all of a sudden. So now we're going to go into detail as to why. And I'm giving you guys these specific and detailed breakdowns so that you guys can understand that it could be the slightest thing that messes up your whole video. I had went from an HP to a Mac. I went and bought the cheapest one that I could afford, but was still good and able to perform for my photography and video editing. And the internal hard drive space for that particular computer is 256 gigs, okay? Now I have a lot of files between photos and videos, and it takes up space. And I maxed out a lot of the trash bin files was still there, and it still holds the storage in case you want to bring them back. So I had to empty that out. Once I did that, I freed up more space. However, with me importing a bunch of media files from cruises, I would fill it up and I would get the prompt on my screen that I did not have enough disk space. So I had already purchased an external hard drive about 6 months prior, but it was still in a box, never been used. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just pull out this hard drive and use that. It's never been used. It's practically brand new. No problem, right? So I would connect the hard drive through the back of the computer, and I would use a different port to plug in my micro SD adapter to the back of the computer, and then just transfer the files over to the hard drive. And then from there, I would import from the hard drive into the Adobe Premiere Pro software. And then I would begin to edit like I would always do. And there was never any issue. I would go through my whole editing process. It would export just fine. But every time it got to playback, it would freeze at the most random places. It would freeze from 15 seconds all the way up to like 2 to 3 minutes. And it would kill me because it would freeze at the most important parts when I'm speaking of pricing or details about how to go about doing something when it came to an excursion or just something on the ship in general. It just always froze at those type of spots. And I'm just getting discouraged and frustrated and stressed out because I'm having people from my community and random people from the cruise community who would message me or comment under the video saying like, hey, I don't know if it's just me, but the video was freezing quite a bit while I was watching it. And I think I missed out on some information when it froze. And I'm just over here just telling people like I'm doing what I can. I'm researching this and researching that and trying this tactic and trying that tactic and just trying to figure everything out that I possibly can. Moving forward, I recently did a video and I thought I had it, but I didn't. It went a long period of time before it froze during playback, but eventually it froze again. And I'm at work in the morning and I'm just thinking like, what else could it be? I've done everything. I've been watching countless videos of beginner import and exports for Adobe Premiere Pro. I have the latest update and I'm like, everything is updated. What am I missing? So I'm at work and I'm thinking, what am I using that's different now than what I was using last year? And I said, wait a minute. It might be this external hard drive. And I'm like, it can't be the hard drive because it's practically brand new. There's nothing wrong with it. It's never been used. So I said, let me hop on Google. And I hopped on Google and I typed in, can an external hard drive freeze playback after an export? And when it popped up, it said, yes, yes, indeed. If you have an external hard drive and it's faulty or an HHD, it could very well cause a lot of mix-ups or screw-ups when it comes to playback. And, you know, I'm not an expert at these things. I would consider myself to be a beginner. So I hope this resonates with all of you beginners out there who are into content creation and vlogging. I didn't know what an HHD external hard drive, well, I just thought it was just a hard drive. Well, apparently going into further research that there's another version and it's called SSD, a solid state drive. And I'm like, okay, well, what is that? I'm looking into it to now know that there are two different types of hard drives for their own specific reasons. I have an HHD, and according to the description of an SSD, that's what I need. So I found out that an HHD, it's less durable, it's much slower, it's more cost effective, meaning that it's cheaper, and it's a lot noisier. And I would notice that when I would have it plugged into the computer and it's powered on, you would hear it rev up and then calm down, rev up and then calm down because of what it's made out of. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics of what it's made out of, but it's mechanics or whatever to where it's doing a whole lot of extra work, okay? And then I looked into what an SSD, the solid state drive, is, and it's way more expensive. It doesn't even make noise. No noise at all. It's very durable, more expensive, and it's much, much faster. And it's geared towards high performance, especially when it comes to video editing, because it has to do with the data transfer speed. I believe it's the read and write speed from the drive to the computer and back and forth. With the HHD, it's not that fast. So it's going to create what I would call in the gaming world lag, okay, causing to freeze. And I'm just like, there's no way this is what it is. Something this simple, simply because I decided to use a hard drive, this cannot be messing up my production this significantly. So I did my last video. If you were to go to my channel, you can see the last video I did. It's an excursion in Cozumel, Mexico. I went back because I had already finished the video based off of the hard drive being, all the media from the hard drive being imported to the software. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to use that. Let me just go and redo the entire video, but instead of using it through the hard drive, I'm going to transfer the files directly from the SD card straight to the computer, and I had enough space for it. When I did that and had to re-edit everything, go through the export process, then go through the uploading process to YouTube, when I tell you it did not freeze at all, which right then verified that it was something as simple as using the wrong hard drive. And about 5 to 6 frozen videos later, I just learned this. And through my community, when I do content for TikTok, I always tell people to do their research. Do their research, do their research. If you knew better, you would do better. And I can tell you guys to apply this to everything that you do. If something goes wrong, something's not working right, do extensive research. And at this point, I can pretty much guarantee you that eventually you will find the problem and figure out how to solve the problem, just like I did. I had to stop using the external HHD hard drive and then just transfer the files directly from the SD card to the computer, but still make sure I have enough space. And that completely eliminated the freezing of my videos. So to rewind a little bit of the story, I told you guys that I was shooting on a GoPro Hero 9. I got so desperate and believed that it has to be my GoPro because I didn't have an issue, that I went and invested in a new GoPro, which is, I'm shooting on the GoPro Hero 12 now. And even with a brand new GoPro, never been used, obviously. Shooting with this one, I was still getting frozen videos. And I couldn't tell you how frustrating it was. And the entire time, it was the hard drive causing all this havoc. So I really do hope that if you are a new content creator or vlogger and you're new to editing and unsure and things like that, and you happen to invest in the Adobe software, I can only hope that you are able to avoid this issue and know that, hey, if you already have a hard drive, look it up and see what type of hard drive it is. Do you have an HHD or an SSD hard drive? If you have an HHD, you're probably going to run into the same issue that I was having. If you have an SSD hard drive, you are good to go. You're going to have the performance, you're going to have the speed, the durability, everything that you need to make sure that you have a great running playback on your videos and your export process runs smoothly. So hopefully this information helped. If you did find this information helpful, do your boy a favor and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Again, this wasn't primarily for, for cruising, but like I said, it was slightly relative because I was shooting my cruise content on these cameras and I was having issues with my playback. So yeah, hopefully this information helped. If you found this video helpful, share this with someone that you might know who's getting into content creation or vlogging, and hopefully we can prevent a lot of people from having this issue in the future. So again, I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.